I think that pretty much orients someone who's going to watch this podcast, particularly doctors, about what it takes to get into this zone. When I say this zone, meaning that content writing zone. Now, it may sound an alien concept to a doctor, but it is not actually. It is very much part and parcel of the profession now.
Correct.
The experts do it, but then you have to have it, in your internet space.
You have to be present. You have to be. In fact, even a Google My Business listing, Google says if you have a website and you give them the link of that website and you want to integrate your phone number into that Google My Business listing, if that is the same number that is on your site, Google allows you to use that phone number. Otherwise, they don't allow you to use that phone number, because of late many times there have been incidents, where someone put in a fake number and there was a huge scam happening. Even for some hospitals, there was like an online appointment booking number, which was a scamster's number. And I would search like XYZ hospital. I would click on that link on Google, and it would go to the scamster, and scam would say, okay sir, like ₹5 का UPI कर दीजिए appointment confirm करने के लिए, and then the whole scam would start. And this has happened to someone I know as well. But that is why, just like the hospital had to then take charge of its own Google listing, the doctor at the very least has to take charge of his or her own website and be digitally present.
That particular example of scam, I think, is very critical. That if you have a website and you have a Google listing with similar phone numbers, that can actually prevent so much damage, which might happen to the reputation. Forget about the money, but
see, the reputation, as doctors, our chief concern is always the well-being of the opposite person. Getting scammed, and the amount doesn't end at ₹5, as you know, right? So the mental anguish, the agony, the time taken for that person to ever recover back is also a significant thing, which I feel is the doctor's responsibility in some sense, because they are coming to you. Doctor, hospital, organization, everybody has that moral responsibility. Again, medico-legally speaking, also in some sense, it is your responsibility to convey and communicate right to the patient, just like in the consent form. So I don't think it is as easy, although it is still a gray area. You can't just wash off your hands saying, "Pata nahi wo kisi ne kiya hoga" types. Why would you allow someone else to impersonate you, act on your behalf, collect money on your behalf, or guarantee or authorize appointments on your behalf beyond a point? Because then that's not you, right? So you, as a person, as a doctor, as an organization, have to take charge of your Google listing and having your own site under your control, which is regularly updated. That's where the updated part comes, because if I'm going to go to a site and I see, just like we would see an Insta profile and last post was 2.5 years ago, we are not going to trust that Insta profile, right? So same way, if I see a website and I see last blog post was, probably the day the site was launched, because you will go down to the footer and you'll see copyright 2021 and last blog post is June 2021, the site's not been updated after that.
these nuances people don't know. Like particularly that copyright 4 years ago, it seems like it has never been updated.
Never been updated. So, but that is why some articles, even one article a month, just to write about the most exciting case you saw that month, right? Or as doctors, we come across certain things that patients sometimes inadvertently, out of their innocence, do, which is silly, right? Or you felt that this one needs a little more awareness. I should perhaps tell more patients that please don't do this, or please don't have XYZ product, or please be careful, rainy season is coming in. Something like that you just want to communicate. A simple blog post, 250 words, 400 words, 500 words, you don't need to be a writer to do that.
1500 वर्ड नहीं चाहिए मतलब.
It's just about दिखाना है ना कि हाँ, मैं ये वेबसाइट पे अपडेट हूँ, मैंने यहाँ पे कुछ बोला है. अगेन, आप गूगल रैंकिंग के चक्कर में नहीं हो, तो आप कीवर्ड्स ऐसे हो, लेकिन नहीं बेटा, इट्स योर ओन वॉइस, आपकी अपनी आवाज और रिप्रेजेंटेशन है वहां पे, आप लिख लो. हाँ, दोज हु वांट टू गेट इनटू अ सीरियस स्ट्रेटजी, yes, let's get into strategy and then we decide whether we need 800, 1200, 1500 words. But for every doctor, because like you said, that participation is a roadblock in some sense. Ab likho na, nobody stops you from posting on Instagram, then why are you so hesitant to post on your own website? I'll tell you, I think it just struck me. Most websites don't come with a CMS, a content management system. It becomes too complex. लोगों को अभी भी लगता है कि कोड करना पड़ेगा जाके. अभी कितने इजी टूल्स है. मेजॉरिटी ऑफ आवर साइट्स आर बिल्ट ऑन वर्डप्रेस, वेयर इन ऑल यू लॉग इन और वहाँ पे ऐसा वर्ड के डॉक्यूमेंट जैसा आपको दिख रहा है, आप वहाँ पे पेस्ट कर दो, फॉर्मेटिंग हटा दो, 2-3 इमेज डाल दो. Doctors sometimes end up putting copyright images on their site. So a lot of this we orient them whenever we hand over a site, and supposing they are not looking for a long-term digital marketing strategy, we orient them with these do's and don'ts. We actually provide like a kind of a manual and a walkthrough of their site where we say, please do not use, if you want to use free copyright free images, then where to search and all of that. But I think it's just about a little, like we say, patient education. I think it's a little about doctor education and awareness to say that websites are not that difficult. You can have a CMS, you can update once in a while, and you can represent yourself better without too much effort. If it's still too much effort, like with everything else in this world, there's always someone else who's going to be happy to do it for you, right? So, but yeah, I think it's not too difficult. It's important to retain your identity and be scam proof. For all the content writers, budding content writers, aspiring content writers, I would say, I mean, as a writer myself, the value of a word, a spoken word or a written word, is immense. I am all for writing, right? The pen is mightier than the sword. Now, of course, the keyboard. But I don't think it's just typing words. I think you really deliver a lot of value when there is a particular brand or even a doctor who's trying to convey something. You're giving them a voice. You're conveying a message. The rights and wrongs and the ethics of it are a completely different thing. But what you are out there is you're being the voice for that brand when that particular potential customer is reading about a medtech device, that these are the features, these are the advantages, these are the not so good advantages, or whatever. This is the usage instructions, or whether it's a social media post, or even what we started with, whether it's this, the voice of the actual text that you're giving, which is true, where we don't want, fear mongering happening in some sense, then you are the voice. If you write a fear mongering message, you're going to convey fear and going to try and be a clickbaity message. If you write a scientific, well structured value addition of a blog, it will get shared, it will be useful, it will be liked. So for the doctor who is just whether you're starting your practice or, like I mentioned, after about 20, 30 years, you want to make a mark, or you're feeling that you want to get onto the tech wave and be a part of it, whatever be the reason, tech is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. AI is not going anywhere. All these tech tools are absolutely here. They are going to evolve. They are evolving faster than sometimes we could imagine. But at the end of the day, they are tools. They are meant to help us. If we learn how to harness them right, if we learn how to use them right, we can use them to our advantage and to our patient's advantage, making sure to decrease the waiting time in your, in your waiting room, to making sure that the prescription is better understood and there is lesser chance of a complication. All of these can be facilitated better by tech tools, making sure they reach and contact you better, they are better oriented in terms of what to expect when they come to you for treatment. All of these can get a huge boost by using the right tech tools. Don't be afraid of tech. We we are too busy in our own practice and trying to learn the tech of sometimes the procedures, sometimes the other basics, and whatever is the simplest possible tool that we find, we just tend to adapt to it and just stay stuck there. But the world keeps evolving at a very different pace. Let's work towards a better tech enabled doctor community as a team, as a community, as a fraternity. We've engaged with doctors from Canada, from Australia, from Germany, from France. No place like India where there are so many doctors, each one sometimes trying to vie for a space up there, to be noticed, sometimes to be heard, sometimes to establish. So much of migration, so many challenges, so many opportunities in those challenges is what we see. So what you do need is a good tech partner. Sometimes I am fortunate to be engaging with so many doctors who are so tech savvy. Some of them are actually into AI and I get to learn so much from them. Some of them have built few more companies of their own and are doing a fabulous job. And when we get together, there's so much of information that is being exchanged. I think I think there's a lot of learning that we can do without going total deep dive like some of us have done because of our pursuits. But in our CMEs, in our conferences, I think we should normalize talking about tech, but more importantly, that tech should be from a medical perspective and not just random tech. The way a particular payment gateway portal is useful for a small companies selling hair care products is not the same way a payment gateway portal is useful for a doctor. The way a credit card scanning machine is useful at a petrol pump, for the tap, is not the same way it is going to be used at a doctor. The charges sometimes are exorbitantly expensive for a doctor. So to understand the nuances of the tech, what is useful where, the the discussions that we have should be medically oriented, and therefore medtech, and therefore of course that's why we are called technomedics. Sorry for that, shameless plug maybe, but medtech has a very different niche. Like fintech is there, there's health tech, there's medtech, there's medtech devices which follow completely different norms and processes and protocols as opposed to your regular device which you can get off the street. So let's have better conversations, more empowering conversations about tech that are better driven to make us, perform more efficiently by saving our time in doing things that can be automated, for example, and we can focus better on diagnosis, on patient care, on conversing better with the patient, on taking some time off because there are some tasks being handled, and relaxing ourselves. At the end of the day, as a doctor, I would want to tell other doctors we do know how stressful it can get at times, and we want to care for our own fraternity as well.
Fantastic, extremely illuminating, and like always, I say, very happy to have this conversation with you. Looking forward to more such. Do mention in the comments what is that you learned from this entire conversation, what is that you would like to learn more. Because the more you engage, we get a better feedback and we know what to serve you in the future. So, thank you, Dr. Suraj, for being part of Homeomitra Vartalap. Looking forward to having more Vartalap with you in the future.
Absolutely, Dr. Gior. Actually, it's an honor and a pleasure to be back here with you for the first time. We are doing it face to face. The last time was a virtual session, which just shows how empowering this can be and your beautiful journey. More power to Homeomitra Vartalap always. I am an ardent follower and I love the way you bring out such interesting conversations. It just shows that while we are all bonded or bound by this one common thread of being doctors, there's so much that each one of us, have a perspective in some sense or have a specialty in some sense. And some of the doctors that you've discussed with in the past, it has been a very enlightening experience for me. It just kind of motivates me to do better, and I hope that what we discussed today is valuable to your very very loyal listeners and followers. Thank you for the opportunity. Looking forward again whenever you think we can serve the community better, at your service.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much.